What's up, guys? We're 8 weeks out now, 2013 NAS National Championships. Today was Tuesday, my pressing rep day. Went with log clean press for reps. I was doing a 5 rep set scheme. Clean once, then press for 5, reset, add 10 pounds, repeat again. And I was going to bring this up till a near fail, or about maybe a 95% effort. Never want to miss any weights. If you feel yourself struggling, maybe you get 4, then the last one was a real grinder, just take a break, back off a little bit. You want to make sure that as long as you're hitting all the weights, you're hitting all the numbers, you're hitting all your reps, it's just going to keep you in a better mood for the rest of your lift, for the rest of the day. The second you start failing at lifts, you're going to get miserable, you're going to be tired, you're going to be just wanting to leave, and the rest of the day is kind of shot. So just stick with it, wouldn't be an issue. As far as working with my strict pressing, there's a huge carryover in my strict pressing into my push presses. I got a little bit of advice from one of my teammates on how to get my push press better, doing these front squat jerks, where all you're doing is working your legs. So that's getting a lot of my power getting up through my legs, but working just strictly strict presses, then going into a push press is making my life a lot easier in this. I ended up working up to 200 pounds for my sets of 5s. The first one went up really easy. I had to take a little break here, but I ended up working it out. I was really happy with my results I was getting. I couldn't believe I was hitting it. But that was my last set of 5. So then after this, I started working up singles, trying to get to a decent number. Wasn't expecting outrageous numbers because of all the volume I was doing. So we just kind of just ran with it and see where I ended up. This 220 was unbelievably easy for me. I mean, I felt like I was unstoppable. It felt phenomenal. 230, had to work for it a little bit harder than I did the 220. But I still got it up. I still managed to go through it. Still got to work on a little bit of that lockout power. That's what I like to do with my accessory work. I see where I went wrong, where my faults are during my main lifts. Then I go back on my accessory work and I start working that stuff. See, a lot of my stuff is lockout stuff. My next day was my max effort deadlift day. Before we get into deadlift video, I had to apologize. I forgot my memory stick. It only had about 30 seconds of video I could use. I had a small pull at work from my hamstring. My low back was in pain, so I just definitely was not feeling it today. I ended up working up to 585, and I just felt very, very slow, so I just kind of called it there. Didn't want to go any farther, didn't want to push it, didn't want to hurt myself. Probably going to end up taking off of deadlifts for the next few weeks, see if it gets any better. But I ended up doing my speed squat day was the next day. Now, I kind of wanted to try something different. I've never really worked with box squats too much, but after my last video, I had one of my other teammates telling me how I wasn't sitting back far enough, and I need to start sitting a little bit farther back in my squat to get a little bit more power out of it. So I decided to try doing box squats. Now these box squats, you can obviously tell, are a lot higher. It's a 16-inch box with a bumper plate. I'm going to call it 2.5 inches on top of that, so we're looking at like between 18 and 19 inches. I'm sitting down onto a box. I like the feel for it because it kind of simulates maybe like a push press, the top of the push press, or maybe when I'm doing my car deadlift, I have to sit back into the car deadlift, and I'm only going to be going down. I'm not going down to 90 degrees. I'm going down maybe right about that angle of my legs. So I don't mind practicing it, doing like this. So today I ended up doing the front squat box squats to a high box. Didn't want to wear a belt because like today's my speed day. And then of course I'm working my contrast work. I hit the front squat for 1, wait about 30 seconds, jump over to do some box squats or box jumps. Hit those, hit one, wait 15 seconds, hit the other one, and then on the 3-minute marker, on every 3-minute marker, that's when I go for my next rep. You know, I really didn't know what to expect since I've never done this before. I'd figure I'd hit around 400 because my max is probably around the high 3s. figure if I'm not going down as low, I can hit a little bit heavier than normal. So I just kept adding a 10 to each side, kept moving up 20 pounds, 20 pounds, and worked my way all the way up. Hit 405, 405, felt easy. Then kept going on with my box jumps. Felt very, very quick, coming off the ground really fast. Here is 425. I was really expecting to start struggling, but the weight just seemed to get easier and easier as the heavier I went. Box jumps never slow down. Usually I'll maybe back off the weight if I'm starting to struggle with the weight, or if I notice that when I'm doing my box jumps, I'm not getting the big pop off the ground like I do when I first start. I'll feel a little bit sluggish, or I will have to start bending my knees to get onto the box. Then that's when I kind of start backing off. But I did a little bit slower jump now. I went from 445 to 455. Not because of anything in particular, more so just I wanted to put a solid plate on there because I started running out of room on the bar. But I mean, I could have used all metal plates. I decided to go with just the bumper plates and just kept with that theme. Now here was 475, and it just came right up. I was really expecting to start slowing down, especially stability wise, considering I wasn't wearing a belt. And I worked all the way up. This was my last set at 495. I felt pretty unstable. I've never had 495 in the front rack position before. And on top of that, I decided to go no belt. But I was happy. Like I said, it was about 100 pounds over what I was expecting to do. You know, I'm not sure where the carryover is from what I do in my training to box squats, but it's obviously there. And then just did a few accessory work movements with my legs, nothing too serious. But then today was my strongman day. I was working up to 80% of all the nationals weights. Nationals is it's a 300-pound log, so today was a 240 log. Then it's a 265 axle, so we were working up to 210 for my axle today. The weight's been flying up. I'm really happy with how my pressing's coming. Then we have a 180 or 185 pound dumbbell at nationals, and then we had a 150 today for the 80%, and then 230 I think is the keg for nationals, and we did 170 today. Now this is the clean once and press for reps. Nationals weight we're going to be looking at 275. I did 230, but I only did about 30 seconds worth instead of the whole minute. Plus, you know, I started doing a lot more push pressing instead of the power jerks, because I've been noticing when I was doing my power jerks, I just felt so unstable. I don't know. I just wasn't going to stick with it. I just went back to push pressing. That's what was working for me before. So I'm just sticking with that. Next we have is the keg. Yes, the keg medley. Nationals were going to be, I think it's 230, 250, 265. So today I went 200-pound keg at the 75-foot marker, 230 at the 50-foot marker, and then 265 at the 25-foot marker. What we're supposed to be doing is loading it into a wheelbarrow, and then you take the wheelbarrow and then you run the whole wheelbarrow back, but we obviously don't have a wheelbarrow. So I decided to do, you pick up the keg, you run with it, you load it over the bar, simulating putting it into the wheelbarrow.
Finish it.
Then picking up the farmers and running with it back to simulate running with the wheelbarrow. Now, I'm actually doing 80% of the heavyweight weights, not the lightweight weights, just to give myself a little bit more of a challenge leading up to nationals. So when I hit my 90% week, it's actually going to be almost 100% of the lightweight weights. Like today was supposed to be 640 for the frame. I ended up not wanting to get the frame out, so I just did farmers, and I was going to do 320 hand, but I jumped to 340 hand instead on accident. I miscounted the reps. I was actually wondering why it was so heavy. But now we have the frame deadlift instead of the car deadlift today. I went with 710 pounds. I have no idea how heavy it's going to be, so I just figured I could get something around 10 reps in about 30 seconds, and I was right about 710. That's right where I was at. Lost my balance on that one. Now the car deadlift's going to be a little bit differently. You're going to have to sit a lot farther back and try to get underneath the weight, if that makes sense. So it would be almost like a front squat instead of more of a deadlift style. Also, I have my suit I still need to put on, try out. Maybe next week or the week after, I'll be giving it a shot and see where I'm at with that. Now, I messed up the weights I was supposed to be doing. This would be 80% of lightweight weights. I meant to do 80% of the heavyweight weights, but I still went through the motions. It felt really light. I was exhausted from doing every single event today, except for the yoke. I'm taking off the yoke for a while too because I don't want anything actually loaded, like a back squat or a yoke. Plus, I'm taking off straight bar deadlifting for a few weeks just to try to get my low back a little bit better while we close out these last few weeks leading into nationals. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you next week.